In this video, let's run through a scenario using the debt payoff strategy calculator to see how to enter all information and how to compare each method. In this example, we have 3 debts totaling $12,000. There is an outstanding loan for a truck, credit card balance and personal loan with the following balances, interest rates and monthly payments. Lastly, we'll use an income of $3,228, total expenses of $2,228, and cash flow of $1,000. Let's go to the Debt Strategy Payoff tool and enter all our outstanding debts in the Your Data tab. We'll enter a quick description, balance, interest and monthly payment for the debts. These were all easily found on each debt statement. At this point, we won't enter anything yet into the line of credit section. Let's get a quick baseline and see how the typical methods stack up. We can now go to the Dashboard tab, enter the date we want to start and see how the payoff methods compare. In the Start Date cell near the top of the screen, let's enter a start date of January 1st, 2024. The Excel spreadsheet automatically calculates the final numbers with each method. One of the first things to look at is the number of months to pay off to see which method is the quickest. Then take a look at the total interest paid to see which one is the smallest amount. Scanning across all of them, looks like the custom time-based method is the shortest time frame with 13 months to pay off the debt compared to the others at 16 and 18 months. And looking at all the total interest paid values, the custom time-based method is the cheapest at $1,331. It's interesting how in this particular situation, the debt snowball is no better than doing nothing. The debt avalanche method shows a slight benefit at 16 months to pay off and $8 less in interest. We can ignore the values for Velocity Banking for now since we didn't put any information into this section of the Your Data tab. These are default numbers the Excel calculations use. So at this moment, looks like the custom time-based method is the best approach. Now, let's take a look at some of the details. Clicking over to the Do Nothing tab, we can see how each debt compares with each other and the number of months until they're paid off. The truck debt needs 12 months to pay off, the credit card 18 months, and the loan 15 months. Now this Excel tool sorts the Do Nothing tab from largest debt balance to smallest debt balance. So you might see the sequence of the debts slightly different than the way you entered them. But this doesn't change the final calculations. Finally, scrolling to the right, we can see how each individual debt compares to each other each month. Moving over to the Debt Snowball tab, we see the sequence of the debts have changed automatically again. This time they are listed smallest debt to largest. In this scenario, notice how the credit card takes the longest to pay off even though it's the smallest debt. Because of this, the debt snowball method doesn't really take shape and happen. The personal loan and truck debts are paid off before the credit card, so there's never an opportunity to take advantage of adding payments to the next debt. Let's move over to the Debt Avalanche method. So here in the Debt Avalanche tab, we can see the sequence of debts have changed again. This time they are sorted based on interest rates. The Debt Avalanche starts with the largest interest rate and moves to the smallest interest rate debt. Here, we can see the numbers are starting to improve. The loan is still paid off in 15 months, just like we saw in the Do Nothing and Debt Snowball tab. But now we're adding the $284 to the credit card and paying that off in 16 months compared to 18 months. Finally, the truck still gets paid off ahead of the loan and credit cards, in 12 months. We'll skip over the Velocity Banking tabs and click on the Custom Time-Based Method tab. Again, we'll come back to Velocity Banking shortly. In the Custom Time-Based tab, you'll see the debt sequenced differently yet again. This time, they are sequenced based on the number of payments at the minimum required payment. This helps start the calculations and debt payoff strategy. As a reminder, the custom time-based method is very similar to the debt snowball or avalanche in that you keep rolling the payments of the previous debt into the minimum payment of the current debt being paid off. The only difference is you're not sequencing by smallest debt to largest or largest interest rate to smallest. Instead, this method sequences the debts by number of months to pay off the debt at the minimum payment, smallest to largest. You'll notice the debts are now at the bottom of the list. And that's because the Excel sheet sees no other debts and assumes they're at a 0 value. It sequences 0 first, then moves to timeframe values above 0. So, in this method the truck takes 12 months to pay off just like we saw so far in all the other methods. But here is where we accelerate the payoff time frame. Once the truck is paid off, we can move to the loan for $3,500. But this time we add the $644 from the truck to the existing $284 payment for a total of $928. And in one more month, the loan is paid off. Now within another half a month, we can see the credit card will be completely paid off. With this method, the debt can be paid off quicker simply by tackling the shortest time frame debt and moving to the next, while also rolling the payments into the next one to help accelerate the time frame. Let's move to Velocity Banking now. For this scenario, let's see what happens if we consolidate all the debts into one credit card. The cost of transferring the debt is 4%, so their total debt owed jumps to $12,420. The interest rate for the debt is 21.325%. And we'll add up all the payments from the three debts into one equaling $1,028. We'll need to open a new copy of the debt payoff strategy calculator since this is a totally different scenario to evaluate. The reason for this is we're completely changing the way the debt is organized. Instead of three separate debts, everything is consolidated into one. We can't use the original file we created because it would see the debts as four individual debts instead of comparing the three debts against the one consolidated debt. Simply enter the one debt into the Your Data tab. Now since there is only one debt in this second file, it doesn't matter which method you look at, they will all be the same. On the Dashboard tab, we can start looking at the numbers. Here, with consolidating the debt into one credit card, the total interest paid will be $1,687 and will take 14 months to pay off. So let's go back now and compare all the results. We'll split the two Excel windows to show the original $12,000 debt compared to the $12,420 consolidated credit card approach using Velocity Banking. We can see Velocity Banking is the most expensive way to pay off the debt. It costs $1,687 in interest versus $1,384 with the next closest payoff method. And yes, you can pay it off in 14 months, which is quicker than most of the methods, but at an increased cost of $356 when compared to the custom time-based method. In this scenario, the custom time-based method is faster than all the other methods and doesn't change any of the payment totals the person is currently making on their debt. Let's look at one last thing. In the beginning of the video, we listed $1,000 in monthly cash flow. Let's quickly enter that amount in each spreadsheet file and see what happens to the debts. Enter the amount here in the additional monthly payments cells, and we can compare the results. So the length and interest payments have dropped substantially. Now we see all options are now the same length of time at 7 months. And the only differences are the total interest payments. Debt Avalanche is the cheapest way to pay off all the debt at only $527 in interest costs. That's quite a difference. Hope this video helped and thanks for watching. Click on the next video to see another example of how to use the debt payoff strategy calculator.